Hey everyone, welcome to this week's update video. This week we have a new unit, another Valentine unit, which is Lilith, right? So let's quickly go over her skills here. Now she's basically a buffing unit, primarily going to be used in crusade raid, like crusade raid bosses. I guess you could technically use it on like any boss, right? Just as a buffing unit, but most areas you don't really need to like super buff your units. It's only really Crusade that you would need to do that. I could see some potential to use it as a buffer in Moon Abyss as well, possibly. But yeah, basically like a PvE buffing unit. I don't think she'll be used in PvP very much, mostly because she's like a pure damage buffer. She does buff mobility and dodge damage reduction, but it's I don't know. I don't think this is enough to like fully cap out someone's dodge. It really depends on the calculation. I don't know her full support power. So just once you like fully level her, you just multiply her support power by a quarter, and then that's how much dodge damage reduction they'll get. Basically, any unit that's very close to getting maximum dodge damage reduction would be nice to have this as a buffing a buff on them. But it's pretty hard to use in PvP, in my opinion, because she has to move like early in the turn order. You need to have a unit that's like very close to capping their dodge damage reduction, and most units that are like pure dodge units usually will have like a self buff to fully cap out their damage reduction, such as like Tenka and Suzuki. So I don't see a big use in PvP, but definitely for PvE, she'll be pretty decent. She also has this ability. I'll have to see how this works in practice because this also works in conjunction with her EX, which I'll go over in a second. But she will consume half her HP. That's max HP. So I think if you need to, she might actually like kill herself with this unless you heal her back up a little bit. But yeah, I'll have to try her out on the next Crusade raid and see how she works then. But then she'll consume some of her HP, and then she gets a skill nullifier, or like a damage nullifier for one instance of damage, and then she can be hit again after that, right? I guess that's supposed to be for PvP, but again, I don't think she's that good for PvP anyway. She does heal. I guess you could think of her as like a more offensive Lina in a way, with mobility buff instead of like resistance and armor. But I think Lina is already pretty good and still better than Lilith. And also, you just don't have that much room to put in too many supports in PvP teams these days. So I think you'll probably still stick with Lina for PvP. Then her EX here is the same condition as a Vadi, where she'll trigger it when she's below 50%. Now, she does consume 50% of her own HP with her other skill, right? I believe that alone shouldn't trigger this, because I think she needs to be like basically 49% of her health or below, right? Whereas that skill will put her on exactly 50%. So I don't think that will make her trigger the EX straight away on the second round, which means I think if you're gonna use her, you might have to like have a small heal with her so that she heals a little bit, but not enough to fully heal her. And then she can like consume half her health again. One thing I will have to also check is whether this is like for sure her max HP or 50% of her current HP, because that's very important. If it's her current HP, then she doesn't need to be healed. She'll just like go from 100% down to 50 and then down to 25. So I'm hoping that's how it works, because that would be much better. If it's just straight, she goes down to 50% and then she just dies unless she heals herself, that would be pretty annoying to use. Because then you have to add an extra unit to heal her up, but like not enough to fully heal her as well. So it'll be a bit of a nuance, right, for Crusade, but I think she has a lot of potential. She also has a pretty good targeting range. She hits whatever her target and then the tile above and below. Now that's pretty good, because then you can use like a diagonal buffer to target something on that square, and then your DPS can be on these yellow squares to get both her buff and whatever unit she's targeting. Like you could put like Nay in that white square, and then Nay will both buff both units as well. So you can have like all 3 units buffing it with the area effect. I'm not sure though, because normally I would use Zhao Wu to target Nei, and then it splashes on both the DPS as well. So this kind of shares that with Zhao Wu, but in certain situations where if you're only going to use EXs that trigger off having units below 50%, right? So which is Avadi and Lilith, then maybe you don't need Zhao Wu, right? If especially on some fights where it might be difficult to trigger an EX that requires 2 units to die, that can happen occasionally. So it just depends on the Crusade Raid boss. Now, if you don't care about Crusade Raid too much, or you just don't care about tryharding on Crusade Raid, then you don't actually need Lilith at all. I think you could skip her potentially, right? If you do care about like scoring high, then I think it's a good idea to keep a copy of her in case you need her. So it really depends on what your goals are in the game. So the Crusade Raid main players, you'll probably want to get a copy. If you just like her design, I mean, it's a pretty good, like, nice looking base skin, then, you know, by all means, go and grab her, right? One thing I want to point out while I'm on the topic of skins is that she doesn't have a special skin which pretty much every limited that I've seen so far normally comes with. I'm not sure if this is an oversight. Maybe we'll get it later. Who knows? But she should still be like an actual limited unit. Just because she's a Valentine unit. I could be wrong. Like, it's not super clear because normally there's like a little sign here saying limited in like purple shiny text, but it doesn't have that on here. But I'm guessing she should still be a limited unit due to being a Valentine unit. Just keep that in mind, right? So that's Lilith. Now we have a couple of events. We got the double resource and the cosmic showdown. So I'm going to try to quickly explain both of these for those who are newer to the game. If you are a veteran, then you probably don't need my advice on this. But sorry, I went to click on the wrong button. So for double resource, you basically just farm whatever you need, right? If you need awakening materials for your units, or if you want to stockpile a little bit of these for future units, then farm this. If you need cores, of course, farm cores, and shield credits or experience or whatever, you can farm it from here. If in doubt, like if you're just not sure what to farm at all, then the safest bet is just to farm cores, because cores are always going to be useful, and specifically you want to farm health and attack primarily. You can farm a little bit of armor as well. These 3 are the more commonly used cores. I would say health and attack are like the majority. Like they'll cover 90% of your units, and then like a small percentage of tanks will use like pure armor cores. Then there's like some niche uses for the rest of the cores, but you don't necessarily need them unless you know specifically that you're going to build a unit with it. For example, if you have a Transcendent Ophelia sitting there for ages, she specifically wants crit damage cores, right? She's the only unit in the game that wants crit damage cores. If you don't have her or just not planning to build her, then of course you don't build, you don't farm this at all. But if you do need it, then go ahead and farm that. But yeah, the basically, if in doubt, farm these 3 cores, with obviously health and attack being the primary use of your stamina. Armor enhancement. This is the over limit materials. This does not get doubled, right? Just keep that in mind. If you made a mistake this time, it's not a big deal. Still, like, get it done because it is a time-gated resource. But in the future, try to get this done at the beginning of the week on Mondays, so that if there is double resource event for that week, you're not like caught off guard and having to waste stamina during the event for it. But yeah, you just keep in mind there's no reason to save like your attempts for double resource, because it's not affected by it, unfortunately. Now, one other unfortunate thing is that we still have 1 week of the Valentine event, which means that you have to think about how you want to use your stamina. Now, hopefully you've taken my advice from the past couple of weeks and have focused most of your stamina on farming this event, because then you should have cleared out at least most of the shop, and like, you know, made at least not all the important stuff like the reverbs and the tickets and stuff like that, right? Then you only have like the less important stuff like blue books and whatnot, like experience, like that. Those are nice to have, but not like essential. If you still have some stuff to go like I do, then you should better get by with just completing the 5 daily runs and then doing the daily missions, right? And getting like these like extra currency. Hopefully that can finish off your shop without having to, you know, put too much more stamina into it, and then you can focus the rest of your stamina on double resource. That's ideally what you would do, but you know, you got to play it by ear, and it's based off like what you've done over the past couple of weeks. Then we got the Cosmic Showdown, which is the PvP event. Now, if you are tryharding and going for max rank, you probably already know what you're doing. So again, you may not need my advice, but I'm going to quickly go over this for the newer players. All right, so if you are new to this, what you have to do is go into Edit Team, and then you have to set up an offense and a defense team, similar to what you would do on the normal arena mode, but you cannot share units on both teams, right? So you have to have a unique setup on both sides, right? Now, my advice, if you don't have a lot of units built, just put your best team on offense, and then on your defense, if you have to, just throw in just whatever units and just be done with it. But if you do happen to have some spare units, then the goal here is to set up a team such that you can try to snipe 1 or 2 units, right? That way, your basic goal will be to win offense with as many units as possible alive, and then on defense, you try to snipe a couple units to make sure that the amount of points that you gain is at least slightly more than your opponent, right? So that's the general way to approach Cosmic Showdown, if you are new to the game and you cannot build like 2 full proper teams, right? That's just, you just do the best you can. Now, especially if you're not trying to try hard rankings, I would suggest just do all 5 attacks per day, and just don't care about whether you win or lose. Just do whatever. The rank you get is what you get at the end of the day, right? That's how I would approach it. That's why I did like in the very first one, where I just didn't really care too much. But it wasn't until like later when I could build like proper teams that I started trying to score in like the top 10 or whatever. But yeah, the way to rank is you need to maintain a win streak. You do get this victory protection, and if you're try-hiding, basically what you would do is you will keep attacking until you lose your victory protection, and then you wait until the next day for the next refresh, and then you'll get your victory protection back, and then just rinse and repeat for the rest of the week. If you don't care about rank, all right, or you're just new to the game and you just want to get as many resources as you can out of this event, then just ignore this. Just queue up and do all 5 attacks and finish the daily missions every day, which only requires 3 attacks. So for the tryhards, usually you'll do like at least 3. Hopefully you still have your victory protection by then. If you still have it, then you can keep going. If not, then you just hold off on it and just maintain your win streak from there, right? Then on the current task, this is for the full event. You need to do 30 attacks in total, win or lose, to get all of the rewards, right? There are some achievements to get like a certain win streak, right? If you can get it, then great. If not, then it's not the end of the world. But as long as you do all 5 attacks every day, you'll at least get all these ones, because they just require you to attack. It doesn't matter if you lose, right, for these ones. So that's the general approach with Cosmic Showdown. Hopefully that is helpful. And yeah, I guess I'll leave it there. There's nothing else much, I think, for this week. So those are the events that we have for now. Now, I have been mentioning that the collab it's supposed to be coming, right? They teased it like quite a while ago now, but they've been putting out like other events and sort of delaying it, right? I'm not sure what's going on. Of course, there hasn't been any new information at the time of this recording. Hopefully we'll get some more now, because I think after this event, there's a high chance that the next event will be the collab. It sort of makes sense to wait out, like, for the Valentine event to finish before they roll out the collab event. Also, the double resource being this week is also like a bit of a tell as well, because then they don't have to overlap the double resource with the collab event. So it sort of makes sense that it's a pretty high chance to be next week, but again, we'll have to wait for the announcements. But once I know what's going on, I will try to get a video out for that, especially if there's any like information that is worth knowing about the units, right? Hopefully they at least give us some of the skill kits to talk about, and then yeah, I'll go over it when that happens. But anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.